POV, you found a DAW that you like the workflow of, as a pretty good mixer and some decent sounds and some decent effects, but it really doesn't go very deep regarding stock synths or something like that. So you want another DAW to complement it, like it has many cool synths and like adding new synths and stuff with updates, and you want more sounds. And you want a DAW that you can use inside of another DAW, kind of. It exists. Which DAW are we in at the moment? Studio One. But what sounds are we using? FL Studio. How do you do this? Basically, FL Studio provides you with a VSTi, which is a virtual instrument you can use inside of other DAWs. If you load that in your DAW of choice, you will see this little interface, and this button opens up FL Studio. By default, it comes loaded with many different patches, and if we change the channel we are interacting with FL Studio with here, we can play different sounds. For example, this one. This would be a 3-OSC. And if we go to channel 2, now we're playing with another 3-OSC. We could go to channel 11 for some Rhodes. We could go to channel 10 for some drums. Yeah, you get it. But the real cool part is when we don't use this plugin anymore, you see right here, FL Studio VSTi, we can also use the FL Studio VSTi Multi. And what this enables us to do is have 16 different MIDI channels into FL Studio and 16 different audio channels, all stereo, out of FL Studio. You get it. How do we set that up? First of all, you load this little thing, and then we could duplicate this track a bunch of times. This is very specific to how you would use it in Studio One. So we need a whole bunch of MIDI tracks, and then we can change the channels on all these different tracks to 1, 2, 3, 6, 8. Yeah, you get it. That's basically how it works. And now we can play channel 1. We can play channel 2, 3. But to get the different audio outputs, multi-out, you have to go into this Instruments tab in Studio One. Click once on FL Studio VSTi Multi, and then you can just drag across of all of these you want to activate. Let's go up to 8, because that's the amount of channels we have at the moment. And now you see we have all of these audio outputs. This is coming out of channel 1 and this one too. So to change that, we go inside of FL Studio to the mixer, select this first channel, tell it to go to FL1. The second one we tell it to go to FL2. But now we have it double out, so the master, we're just going to mute that one. So again, after you enable the multi-outputs in your DAW of choice, you go back into FL Studio and you select first track. I would suggest send that one to FL1. Select second channel, send that to FL2. Select the third channel, send that to FL3. Fourth to FL4. 5 to FL5. My suggestion is then that you save this as a preset in this little thing, and you can just recall it as a preset. And again, don't forget to mute the main output, because that one's always going to go to FL1. But of course, we could also just change that to none. That will work as well. And now we have created 8 different MIDI channels into FL Studio and 8 different audio channels out of FL Studio. So now we can use a bunch of different FL Studio instruments inside of Studio One. Sometimes you might encounter a bug that if you click here, FL Studio doesn't open. That probably means it opened in the background and you will have to access the window through your taskbar or something. Now we can check all the generators inside of FL Studio. Select, for example, the new Kepler and drag and drop that into the channel rack first slot. By the way, here you select which channel you send it to. So you have this on 1, then channel 1 we send to FL1, which means with channel 1 here, we send audio to this first audio output. And now we're working with Kepler. And of course, we can use all the usual FL Studio effects. if we are on this channel, we can just, for example, use a little fruity chorus. And we can combine that with effects in Studio One. We can use the analog delay. And that's basically how I made this little production. First I took Drumaxx and I added some effects. Without effects it sounds like this. And then I added Fruity Squeeze as well as Sound Goodizer. Why not? Next I added a Kepler pad. I personally feel that FL Studio is so cluttered. So I really like that I can now use the interesting sounds of FL Studio inside Studio One, which is a bit more, has a kind of a chiller vibe to me. Let's put like an open air patch on it, maybe like a plate or something. That's, yeah, of course. If you work with multi-out, you should usually not work in this thing up here, because for some reason all of these are just controlling the main output, which is output number 1. And this volume level here is linked. So you always have to go to the mixer. All right, we want to work on channel 2, so we drag this to channel 2, and we don't want it on the drums. And here we can control the individual levels. Sounds good, sounds good. And then next I added a little jazz EP from Fuji DX10, and I added Luxverb onto this one. Toxic Biohazard. And I made this little lead. Maybe we could add something like a phaser to this one. And then lastly, a MiniSynth for a bass. And then you can add mix bus effects, whatever, in your other host DAW, Studio One for me. So I used the Studio One limiter. Yeah, this is how you can use FL Studio inside Studio One or a different DAW. I think that's pretty cool, because I think Studio One is lacking a bit, especially in like synth departments. It has a pretty cool sampler with nice, for example, electric pianos. That's one of the strongest parts, I think, of the Studio One stock sounds. And it comes with 2 stock synths, and there's even some synth patches in this sampler, of course, but like if you look at this synthesizer, the big one is MIDI. And it comes with a selection of presets, but I personally feel it's a bit, if you don't go third party, like I'm a user of Toolbox, which is cool. Videos coming soon about that. It's let's say a bit lackluster, I think, compared to something like FL Studio. There's one more synth called Mojito. It's just a mono synth. For what this wants to be, it sounds good, but yeah, you won't get a huge range of sounds out of it. So Studio One has some decent stock sounds, but nothing, especially regarding synthesizers, nothing compared to FL Studio. Or I think another good one could be a Logic. Yeah, that's the video. Hope you enjoyed it. Leave a like, subscribe. See you again soon. Bye. Time again, time.